Have you ever wondered what it takes to create something that is truly last? What's the secret to building something that doesn't just survive, but grows stronger for decades in our always changing digital world? The answer might surprise you. It's not about fancy equipment or perfect production. It's not even about having all the answers when you start. It begins with a simple promise to pay it forward. Now, look back to March 2005 in a hotel room at the Marriott in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I sat with a basic microphone trying to record the first episode of what would become the Killer Innovations podcast. The bathroom's natural echo was the only, quote, sound engineering I had. Nothing like the studio we have today. But why a podcast? Why innovation? And honestly, why a bathroom? These questions have followed me for years, and as we launch season 20, officially making this show the longest continuously produced podcast in history, it feels right to finally share the whole story with you. But first, let me ask you something. Has someone ever believed in you so deeply that it completely changed your path? For me, that person was Bob Davis. As my mentor, Bob spent countless hours guiding me, challenging me, and opening doors I didn't even know existed. During one of our regular talks, feeling incredibly grateful, I asked him how I could possibly repay him for everything he's done. Bob's answer wasn't what I quite expected. He laughed, knowing laugh of his that was just more of a chuckle, and he said something that would change the direction of my life. The statement he made was, quote, "There is no way you can pay me back. You have to pay it forward." That wasn't just gentle advice. That was a responsibility placed squarely on my shoulders. But how could I possibly live up to such a big obligation? And what did paying it forward actually look like in real life? The answer would come in ways I could never have imagined, shaped by voices that had influenced my own thinking. Long before podcasts existed, I followed Earl Nightingale's monthly Insight audio cassette subscription. It was $70 a month for those cassettes back in 1980, 81, 82, 83, 84. That was a lot of money, particularly for me as a brand new software engineer, newly married, and a baby on the way. But Earl showed me how spoken words could do more than just inform, but they could change lives. Could I create something similar to this in the thing called podcasting? The term itself was barely a few months old. The first true podcast show was created in August of 2004 by Adam Curry. For those of you in my age category, you'll remember Adam as one of the very first VJs when the launch of MTV. But he launched a daily podcast show called Source Code. Most people at that time were still listening to radio or CDs. Podcasting directories didn't even exist. Trivia question: what was Twitter called before it was called Twitter? It was called Odeo, and it was a podcast directory. And when it went out of business, it pivoted its technologies to become what we know today as Twitter. And I was one of the first shows Odeo ever listed on their directory back then. The subscription models were totally a foreign concept. Tools to create and publish podcasts didn't exist. You had to hand code your RSS feeds for every episode you added. The landscape was new, it was untested, and it was mostly unknown. But that's what made it perfect. What a big question remained was, would anyone actually listen? What I didn't realize then was that this uncertainty, this feeling of not knowing, would become one of the show's greatest strengths. In the early days, it was quiet. Recording weekly episodes felt like talking to no one until one day, something unexpected happened. Adam Curry, the very person who had created the first podcast show, mentioned my podcast on his show. That single mention changed everything. Suddenly, this small experiment in paying it forward found an audience. People began listening, responding, talking back. And as our listeners grew, so did a nagging question. What insights could I share that they would want to listen to, that would be helpful to them? What principles could truly help others navigate the complex worlds of innovation? Over hundreds, and literally, I think I tried to go back the other night to count it. We're north of 800 episodes, thousands of conversations, and countless moments of thinking deeply. Patterns began to emerge, not just in how successful innovations were created, but how the show itself grew. These weren't principles I set out to discover. They revealed themselves gradually, persistently, until they became impossible to ignore. The first one is innovation requires intention. Big ideas rarely happen by accident or by luck, no matter what you think. The most successful innovators deliberately create space and habits that encourage creative thinking and problem solving. Number two, failure is an essential teacher. Our greatest lesson often comes from our biggest failures, not our successes. Embracing failure as a normal part of the innovation process, it's not something to fear, but it unlocks growth and insights we'd miss otherwise. And number three, diversity drives creativity. The most powerful innovations come from teams that have a mix of viewpoints, different experiences, different educational backgrounds, different knowledge areas. Building diverse teams is the best way to break through old thinking patterns. And number four, innovation is a learnable skill. While some people might seem naturally creative, the basic skills of innovation can be developed through practice. With the right methods and consistent effort, anyone, and I mean anyone, can get better at innovation. Number five, human-centered approach works best. Technology and processes matter, but innovations that truly change lives must be based on human needs, behaviors, and feelings. Starting with a deep understanding of the people you're trying to serve leads to solutions that don't just both work technically, but make a real difference. These five truths have guided not just what we talk about, but how the show itself has grown. But here's what I've never publicly shared before. These principles weren't abstracted theories I studied from a distance and read in a book. Each one came from my own painful experience, my own lessons, stubborn mistakes, and yes, humbling realizations. As the show's reach grew, so did our production capabilities, though not without growing pains. From that hotel ballroom, we moved to makeshift home setups, then to increasingly better equipment. 8 years ago, we built our first professional recording studio. This space, designed specifically for exploring innovation in all its form. But now, we're in the middle of our biggest expansion yet, transforming this recording studio into a complete innovation studio. A place where we just don't talk about innovation, but we are showing it. We are experiencing it and experiencing it with you. Each upgrade brought technical challenges. Each improvement required learning new skills. Each evolution demanded letting go of what was comfortable from the past and that for what was possible in the future. Sound familiar? Yes, it's the innovation journey itself, playing out in real time. But through it all, one question kept coming back. What makes this show different from the countless of others that have come and gone over the 20 years? The answer becomes clear only with time. It's you. You've been the secret ingredient all along. Your emails challenging my thinking. Your stories showing principles in action. Your questions pushing me to explore new territories. In recent months, we've seen a remarkable growth in our community, especially on our YouTube channel. new listeners discovering 2 decades of insights, longtime supporters returning with fresh perspectives. This growth has made me stop to think deeply. What responsibility comes with being the longest running show in our medium? What does season 20 demand of us after all we've learned? The answer lies in returning to that original promise that I made to Bob Davis, but with a depth and a maturity that only experience can bring. As we launch season 20, I'm both humbled by what we've accomplished and excited about what lies ahead. The milestone wasn't something I planned for. It's simply the result of showing up for you week after week, year after year, honoring that original promise I made to pay it forward that I've been given by Bob. Season 20 represents a renewed commitment to that promise. We'll focus more on things like innovation leadership skills and creativity and thinking methods that you can use right away. We'll host more live sessions from the Innovation Studio, creating experiences that bring innovation principles to life. Dream it, make it, master it. Those are our guiding lights. To deliver on this vision and continue raising the bar on quality, we need your help. Like any worthwhile innovation, this next chapter requires both creative vision and practical resources to make it real. As the show grows, so do our costs. We need equipment, software, and more importantly, a team of talented people who can help with the research, production, and editing. Every dollar from supporters goes directly to those expenses, not into my pockets. Your support makes it possible to deliver quality content each and every week. For those who found value in our journey together, I've created a way for you to become an even more important part of this community through Patreon. Your support helps fund the team that makes the show possible and ensures we can continue to deliver quality innovation insights for years to come. In return, you'll receive exclusive content, early access to episodes, special benefits that'll improve your innovation practice. Visit patreon.com/Phil McKinney or click in the comments or in the show notes description below to learn more about joining this next phase of our journey. But looking back at that first recording in the Phoenix hotel room, and yes, it is still out there if you can find it, I'm struck by how much has changed and how much remains the same. The technology has evolved. Podcasting is far more impactful than it was 20 years ago when we first started, a handful of us, back in the early days. Our understanding has deepened. Our community and innovation has grown beyond anything I could have imagined. But the basic question that drove that very first episode still drives us today. How can I help each other? How can I help you become a better innovator? As we enter our third decade together, I'm filled with the same curiosity and the same enthusiasm that drove that very first recording. Now, maybe even more so, as I've seen the amazing power of shared knowledge and learning together. To you, whether you've been with us since those early days, those early, very rough episodes, or just found us recently, thank you. You are the reason we continue the journey. And your pursuit of meaningful innovation inspires everything we create. But I'm left with one final question. And it's perhaps the most important one of all. What innovation challenges are you facing right now? What stands between you and your next breakthrough? Share your thoughts in the comments below or reach out to me through the website over at philmckinney.com. Your questions and insight might inspire our next exploration together. I'd also like to connect with you on LinkedIn. As I receive hundreds of connection requests monthly, please just mention that you're a listener of the podcast and then send me the request to connect. If you say that you're a listener to the podcast, I will be sure to accept it. After all, the greatest innovation often begins with the simplest question. So ask your questions. And just the key here is just asking them at the right moment. Just get me the questions and let me reply. Help us identify the content that'll best help you achieve your success. So here's to the next chapter in our ongoing exploration. What makes innovation truly killer, which means impactful, lasting, and transformative. The best is yet to come. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.